Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Today we're going to be continuing looking at OpenWebUI and how to set up your local large language model so it has all the tools, skills and capabilities to perform to the best of its ability to support you in your workflows. So just before we get started, today we're going to be looking at the workspace in OpenWebUI, which contains prompts, knowledge, tools, and skills. But before we jump in, what do we mean by all of this? Well, the model, the large language model, Quen, Llama, Minstrel, Nematron, Sonnet 4.5 from Anthropic, GPT-5 from OpenAI, they are large language models. They're essentially the brain, the underlying LLM, the core intelligence that powers everything. What sits on top of that is the prompt. You'll often hear about prompts talked about. This is almost the personality, what it's programmed to behave like, instructions, tones, styles, and guardrails. Okay, so the base layer is the model, the brain. What sits on top of that is the personality. And then we're going to think about the knowledge. This is like the memory that we have that the large language model has access to. So this is documents, this is data, this is any context it can draw from. We're going to provide it our own data, but when it's web searching, it's also using that knowledge to produce information that it will give as its response. And then also the model underneath it has its own data sets it was trained on that it can draw from as well. But the knowledge in this context, when we're talking about OpenWebUI, will be the specific data that we give it. The tools, think about it like the hands, or maybe a toolbox with a screwdriver in there, maybe a hammer, maybe a drill, maybe a lawnmower for the garden, whatever it might be. This is what the large language model can do. So it's any APIs if you connect it with the internet, for example, or Firecrawl if you want better search results, something like this. It also we'll jump into the tools in a little bit. Document creation, whatever it might be. And then skills, this is kind of the habits that the large language model performs using routine strategies and the best practice it follows. So each of these layers create a personalized AI agent. So the model sits at the bottom, the base, it's the brain. On top of that is the prompt. That's what it's programmed to behave like. Above that is the memory, the knowledge, the data it has. Above that is the tools it can utilize. And sitting at the very top is the skills, how it actually performs. So each of these layers is what makes up our personalized AI agent. So when we're talking about the model, the local large language model, we're talking about the LLM that it is, Quen, Llama, whatever it may be. But what we're really doing in OpenWebUI today is turning it from a baseline model to a personalized AI agent that can perform bespoke and specific tasks. So without further ado, let's jump into this. So we'll pop into here. And if anyone can't remember how to activate their environment, we'll pop up here to source ~/openweb in bin activate, and that will activate our Python environment. That's like the folder, if you remember from our last episode. So we know we're in the environment when we jump in there. The brackets appear, and then from that we can serve it. And when we serve, it will open up our, what do we do there? It will open up the port. So here we are, we're back in OpenWebUI, if everyone is familiar with it from last time. If we jump into our workspace, this is what we're going to be utilizing today. So we have our prototype Cornelius from last time, which we gave a prompt to and we enabled web search. But today we're going to go a little bit deeper. So we're going to import some knowledge into there. So we're going to click new knowledge. You can't see it, it's just underneath the camera. It's in the top right hand side of this window. What is our knowledge base? Now for our demonstration purposes, we're going to do gardening data. Give a short description, provide information on the garden. A little typo in there. pop that in there. Now, if you have any groups or other users, you can change it from private or public. We're going to keep it private today, and we're going to create the knowledge. So from in here, just hiding underneath, we have a little plus arrow. Again, it's just beneath my camera. So we're going to upload files. We're going to go into our knowledge, and we're going to put a database in there, a JS file, a text file, and another Excel spreadsheet. So we're going to open all of these in here, and you see them start to pop up and migrate over on this left hand side. Okay, so that's all we need to do, and that's going to provide the large language model that we're going to create as a bespoke agent into data that it can utilize. Next, we're going to set a prompt. Again, just underneath my image here on the right hand side, we've got new prompt. And from this, we're going to jump over to our files, and I've made one for Edward Fairweather. And we'll copy this over. So we've got our prompt, and we're just going to pop it in here, and we're going to name it Edward Fairweather. We've got to pop them at the top. So Edmund Fairweather is being prompted to be a warm head gardener with lots of years of knowledge, and this is a kind of important bit here. When given garden data, staff, section, task budgets, think you are the head gardener preparing for a season briefing. Consider who has the right skills for each task, what the land needs at this time of year, where the budget and tight, where the budget is tight and corners must not be cut, how to bring younger staff and volunteers along, and what can wait and what absolutely cannot wait. You communicate in a clear, confident prowess. You do not use bullet point lists unless presenting a structured plan or schedule. When asked to produce planned schedules, present them as a head gardener would. And then this top here is just a little bit about its personality. So we're taking that brain, that large language model from our image, and we're going to add on top of it a prompt, the personality, how the large language model is going to be used. And this is our first step into creating a personalized AI agent. So we're going to click save and create down here. So we have this here, and this in OpenAI you can't attach onto the personalized AI agent, the model, which it's called in our workspace just here, but we can use it as kind of a copy and paste in. So it's a good place to keep our prompts as you develop different AI agents for different tasks, perhaps one for social media, one for marking, one for writing documents out. We can create a list of them, and you can also discover useful prompts that other people in the community have made, and we'll touch upon this in a moment or two. Next, we're going to jump to our tools before skills, and again, top right side, we're going to click new tools, and we're going to import a tool. We're going to go to this tools folder, visuals toolkit v3. Okay, it's a JSON file. We're going to confirm it. And there you go, it's in there like that. If you don't know where to get tools from, if you pop over to the OpenWebUI community, you can search in here, let's say Visual Toolkit. We've got V3, there's V4 there, we're on V3, and it's going to give you a little bit about what it can do. Features, charts, tables, heat maps, metric grids, timelines, what's new, compatibility, how to create some of these settings. So you see valves here. When you go to your tool, if you click settings here, it'll pop up valves. Now these defaults have all been set to the developer's standard. So we've got 250 max rows, max column 60, ASCII chart height 12, embedded chart height 420, and we can see those listed just here. Some of the tools are more complex and they will have more valves for you to tweak to your liking, but it's always good to go with what the developer has said. Now, just while we're in communities, if we go back and we type in web search, if we can spell it, and there we go, it will pop up lots of different things, and you can select by top, all time, and you can go through and find the most appropriate tool for your purposes. That'd be if you want to make a Word document, you can type in document, and then we'll have, in fact, let's type in document generator, template document generator. Okay, and so for example, all of these will pop up. If you click get, you can import it directly, or you can download it as a JSON. And when you download it, you simply head over to your tools, and instead of clicking import, well, you click import from here, and then you would download it in. So nice and easy. If you want to import it directly, just click on import. It'll pop up with the JSON file. You can change it to your liking. Some of them on there have lots of different language translations, and they're not needed, and you can just click save, confirm, and it'll pop up in here as well. But for today, we're not going to look at document generation for this short demonstration, but that's how you would find and utilize tools for your local large language model to utilize in order to personalize it as an AI agent. In skills, these are a little bit different. You can find them in the community also. However, they're more the best practice, how you want things to be done. So for us, we're going to import, and we're going to head over to skills. We're going to go Edmund Fairweather. So these are little, they're almost like extra prompts that give a persistent way of the personalized AI agent to perform tasks. So we'll pop those all in for now. And as you can see here, external security. Before every response, check botanical accuracy, safety, factual claims, practicality. Okay, so each of those are going to be important to further improve the capabilities and capacities of the large language model, or of the AI agent that you're creating based on a large language model. So here we have guardrails again, plant safety, professional conduct, but you can change these to whatever you like in order for the personalized AI agent to be, and you can write your own in here, to be useful for the purposes you want. Let's say you work in education and you want things to be marked. You could write in here, all marking must consist with the mark scheme, and then you can add the mark scheme into the knowledge basis, for example. So we'll just add a few of them in here. Click create down. So we'll pop create down there, and we'll just add 3 of them in for this demonstration today. So we've got our knowledge, gardening data, we have our prompt, Edmund Fairweather, we have our skills, his soul, his external security, his guardrails, and we have tools, visual toolkit. So how do we put all these together now that we've imported and added them on? Well, we go to models, the same as last time, and we're not going to create or add on to Cornelius. We're actually going to create a new model. So in the same way, we're going to name him Head Gardener. Description, Edmund Fairweather, Head Gardener. Okay, and then in our system prompt, we're just going to open prompts up. We're going to head in there. We're going to copy and paste really quickly, and we're going to pop that into our system prompt. Knowledge, we want to select the knowledge, and we've got each of the individual files, but we're going to put the whole collection in. And that's going to be handy if maybe you have one document you want it to learn from, maybe a piece of legislation or something like that, a work report that you've been handed by a manager, or you can put all of those data files into a collection as we've done and just add the whole collection, and it will be able, and the personalized AI agent, in our case Head Gardener, will be able to draw from all that data. We're going to tick Visual Toolkits version 3 in our tools. So when we've imported it into our tools section, it will come up as tick boxes. You can tick them in. We're going to add soul in there, guardrails in there, and external security as our skills. So we don't need vision, we don't need file upload, we don't need web search, but we will leave it on. We don't need image generation or code interpretation. We'll leave the terminal on. Why not? Well, we don't really need it. Citation is really useful because it's going to show how the personalized AI agent is thinking, especially if it's going to search the web. We'll have status updates, bulletin tools, and we'll have all of those added in, which means it's got the knowledge base. We don't need image generation on there, code interpretation. And what this does, it just makes it run a little bit more efficiently. So it's reducing the amount of thinking capacity that the large language model is using. So essentially that's it. Again, we can go to our advanced parameters just here. And the main one we're going to want to do is numerical thread. We're going to move that to 4 just to make sure if any Mac users are on, it's using all of our all of the power inside our hardware. So we're going to save and create. So it's as simple as that. We can add in a logo if you want, but we're not going to do that today. So then when we make a new chat, the same way we searched for Cornelius last time or our base models, it's not popped up there. Oh, I didn't. Did I not save it? Oh, I don't think I saved it down at the bottom. Save and create. Let's do that again. These things happen, but we'll do it a little bit quicker. So copy you in there. Pop you as our system prompt. Head gardener. Short description. Edmund Fairweather. Advanced parameters. Show down here numerical thread, stick that as 4. We want our gardening data knowledge basis, visual toolkits, Sol, guardrails, external security, no vision, no file upload, no image generation, no code interpretation, no terminal, no code interpretation, image generation, we don't need channels, history, memory time. So we're going to save and create. Oh, silly me. This is why it didn't save last time. We didn't choose the large language model that's going to be the basis. So if we think about the little layered infographic here, we've got the model, which is Quen. We've got the prompt, which is Edmund Fairweather. We have the knowledge, which is the gardener's data collection. We have the tools, which is, Visuals Toolkit version 3. And we have the skills, which is guardrail security and the soul. So the brain that powers it is Quen. The prompt that gives it its personality is Edmund Fairweather, the gardener. The knowledge gives him all his understanding of the garden that we have. So even if it could go out to the internet and search up gardens, it couldn't understand the actual garden that we have on our property, for example. The tools gives it capabilities to complete further actions other than text generation in the response, and the skills is how it continuously performs. If we come down here and we save and create this time, there we go, we save and create, we see head gardener popped up here. So if we head over to new chat, just like we did with Cornelius, we can pop over to Quen, we can go head gardener. We can see we've got one available tool, Visual Toolkits version 3. And we're going to say, hello, Edmund Fairweather. Can you produce a quick report on the garden staff we have available? See, it's under that citations, it's searching knowledge. Hello, Edmund. Can you produce a quick report on the garden staff we have available? So the large language model Quen is thinking about it, and this is now our personalized AI agent. So it has all the knowledge available to itself. It has its own unique prompt. It's got its own tools in there that we'll demonstrate in a minute, and likewise with the skills. Now, one thing to consider is the more knowledge, tools, skills, and tools you layer on top of that base large language model, such as Quen, the response time is going to take a little bit longer. But if you have up-to-date machinery, it shouldn't take too long at all. So we're just going to wait for this prompt. And again, you can use cloud inference, but that reduces the point of keeping everything locally on site on your machine. So there's no data heading out into the world. So it's taking a little bit longer because he's utilizing that visual toolkit tool straight away without me even prompting it. And we're going to get a current report on the garden staff. So if we pop him in full screen, we can see head gardener Edmund Fairweather. We've got the garden manager John Smith, assistant gardener Alice Robert, gardeners Emily White and David Black, and then we've got Sophie Gray as the apprentice gardener. So that's great. So that's why he took a little bit longer there, and then he's going to pop up further a kind of a more detailed list, I suppose, underneath that visual toolkit, which is excellent. So as you can see here, very quickly, we can see we've improved the personalized AI agent to be more specific to what we would like him to do. He's utilizing the tools without prompt. He's following his role, his prompt here. Certainly I can provide a concise overview of our garden staff and our roles. Here's the breakdown. And he provides little follow-ups here. So we've got the model, which is Quen. We've got the prompt, which is Edmund Fairweather. Okay, this is the tone, the style, how he articulates himself. That knowledge basis is providing the underlying information for the gardeners that exist within that data set in order for the AI agent to produce the information relevant to ourselves. That tool's visual toolkit enabling the head gardener, Edmund Fairweather, the AI personalized agent, to create charts as opposed to just text outputs. And again, within that community section on OpenWebUI, you can find a whole plethora of various tools to suit your needs depending on the task that you have in mind for your personalized AI agent to complete. And then on top of that, the skills is that best practice, how it's okay. So Edmund's finished his response here, and as you can see, I've just taken a walled kitchen garden on a small estate. Where do we start? He's provided some information in a visual representation. He's provided tasks outlined here and who could do it based on the knowledge of the staff involved in the gardening data set. He's provided initial steps on how to get things off the ground, specific tasks for the month, and so forth. So we can really see Edmund Fairweather moving just from a local large language model, Quen, that's just trained on its own data set, to a very specific personalized AI agent, in our case, a head gardener, who can utilize data, utilize skills, utilize tools in order to provide you the best experience as a user in order to get the most work done at the most optimal rate. So if we head over back to our workspace, essentially, in order to create a personalized agent on OpenWebUI from a local large language model, you're going to need a knowledge collection, whatever that may be relevant to your work. You're going to need a prompt. Again, prompt's like a fine art. Develop it well, think about it a lot. What is it you want the personalized AI agent to be like if it was a human stood there in front of you? The skills, further developing the best practice for the personalized AI agent to work aligned with. And then the tools, what tools are best for us today in this demonstration, showing you how to work and get it configured. We've just got one, the visual toolkit, but if you ever want more, we've got document generation here, and we can always search for additional tools within the OpenWebUI community. So if we just head back to tools, so essentially that's it, and then we configure the models just like we did with Cornelius, as we have done today with the head gardener. Essentially, this is it with OpenWebUI. It's a way to improve on your local large language model. Instead of having it as a baseline large language model, you can have it as a personalized AI agent. So it's fantastic, a lot more comprehensive than Ollama, and as you can see here, we're developing our large language model that we downloaded. So this is just Ollama, this base layer here. This is all you can do, but with OpenWebUI, it opens up your large language model held locally to be created into a personalized AI agent with prompt, with personalized knowledge, personalized prompt, personalized tools, and personalized skills. when we think about getting started with local large language models and OpenWebUI, it's really installing and configuring OpenWebUI for the first time, and then learning and understanding how the prompt knowledge tools and skills work, how to configure and how to utilize them. I hope you have an amazing time playing around and finally utilizing local large language models to your advantage in this new and ever changing epoch that we live in.